Hey everybody, Rob Maurer here, and today we are talking about the leaked release notes for FSD Beta version 11.3, which has started to more broadly roll out to Tesla employees. Lots of exciting stuff in there. We've also got updates on the Tesla Semi, a new supply contract signed by Tesla, and a few other items as well. After the long weekend, not such a strong return to trading for Tesla stock today, down 5.25%, closing at $197.37, but the Nasdaq was down 2.5% on the day today, so it doesn't look all that Tesla specific. As we look ahead to the rest of the week, tomorrow we'll get the FOMC meeting minutes from the early February meeting. On Friday, we'll get the Personal Consumption Expenditures or PCE index report. And then heading into next week, 1 week from tomorrow, we'll have Tesla's Investor Day. So a lot to look forward to, including possibly further expansion of Tesla's most recent update to FSD Beta. Tesla's been working hard on version 11.3, which this weekend seemed to roll out much more broadly to Tesla employees. With that release, we're now getting some leaks of new visuals, some videos, and the release notes. There are a ton of updates here, a lot of interesting things, so definitely worth going through. And even though it looks like a lot, we'll break it down and keep things simple. And we'll start off with the biggest update, which is of course that Tesla has now enabled FSD Beta on the highway. This is extremely exciting to see. This has been a huge effort for Tesla for more than a year now. This replaces the legacy autopilot stack, which is more than 4 years old. So that was still running single camera, single frame. Of course, FSD Beta, stitching all the cameras together and running on video. Doesn't mean everything is going to be perfect right away. There will probably even be some regression in some cases early on, but that is obviously a much better base for Tesla to be building off of. Tesla Bull on Twitter has been sharing some videos of version 11.3 in action. We can see that on the highway at speeds 80 miles an hour, the beta visualization remains, which previously would have been replaced by the autopilot visualization. It seems to look really solid even at those speeds. And there are a couple updates to the visualization, including what appears to be a much thicker line for the vehicle's intended path. Anyway, within the release notes, there are a few bullets specifically covering highway scenarios. Tesla says that they have added a long-range highway lanes network to enable earlier response to blocked lanes and high curvature. And I think this one will be very welcome. They say that they've improved handling through high speed and high curvature scenarios by offsetting towards inner lane lines. I was really happy to see that one. It should make things much more comfortable, especially in those cases where you have someone in that outer lane. Then, no surprise, as a result of unifying the stack, Tesla says that they have improved reliability and smoothness of merge control. Next, a couple of updates on how clips work. We know Tesla draws these from the fleet, gets them labeled, oftentimes auto-labeled, and uses that information to improve neural networks, to improve planning, etc. Sounds like with this update, Tesla is now going to be incorporating context from drivers as a part of these clips. They have added the ability to add voice drive notes. Again, Tesla Bull on Twitter gave us a little bit of a demo of this. Basically, if a disengagement happens, you've got the option to add up to a 10-second voice recording explaining the disengagement. I know Tesla had removed the save video clip button from most vehicles, not all though, so I wonder if this will be the entire fleet or if this is just employees or maybe just select cars. But if this is all vehicles, Tesla's about to have millions and millions of clips that all have voice annotations constantly being used to improve things. So I don't know if Tesla will just automatically transcribe these and have this context available for labelers, but that's a pretty manual process. And again, with this large of a fleet, I don't know that that gets you too far. So it's interesting to think about what Tesla might have in mind in terms of automation of including some of this feedback, especially now that we're starting to see neural networks creep into the planning portion of the system. I've often wished for a way to provide more feedback. I think many of us have. In the early days of FSD Beta, they had an email address you could send your thoughts to and talk about specific disengagements and things like that. Obviously, that's not too scalable though, so certainly Tesla's thought about how to make this scalable. It's almost like there should be some training for drivers to teach us how to give good feedback that can be easily and automatically categorized and incorporated. So definitely one of the more intriguing updates there, and we'll see how broadly Tesla offers that, but they do say in that note that the feedback will be anonymized, so that would suggest it'd probably be beyond just employees. Anyway, also on clips, Tesla says that they have now unlocked the capability to capture longer fleet telemetry clips by up to 26%. Continuing on, huge updates here on automatic emergency braking. Tesla says that they have expanded this to handle vehicles that cross the vehicle's path. Tesla says this will be active in autopilot and in manual driving, and that their data suggests that 49% of events would be mitigated with this new behavior. So it doesn't mean completely avoiding that 49%, that's probably a portion of it, but reducing the severity of the rest, which would be a huge safety win. Similarly, Tesla says that they have improved autopilot reaction time to red light runners and stop sign runners by half a second or 500 milliseconds. So that's a sizable improvement. I wish this kind of stuff would get as much attention as FSD Beta recall. These couple of bullet points alone are probably just as impactful, if not more impactful, to Tesla's overall safety than anything in that recall notice. So those were kind of the easily categorized things on the release notes, and then there are a host of general improvements like we usually see. Tesla says they've reduced goal pose prediction error for candidate trajectory neural network by 40% and reduced runtime by 3x. So basically this means that Tesla is making more accurate predictions of where the vehicle should end up and is making those predictions much faster. Tesla says they've improved occupancy network detections by oversampling on 180,000 challenging videos, including rain reflections, road debris, and high curvature. So a better understanding of occupied space, particularly in those scenarios. Next, Tesla says they've improved recall for close-by cut-in cases by 20%. Recall in this context means more accurately identifying those scenarios. When those cut-ins do occur, Tesla says that they have also improved handling for smoother lateral and longitudinal control. Next point, Tesla says they've improved the absolute recall of lines by 6% and the absolute recall of road edges by 7%. So again, those are improvements in accurate identification. Improve the overall geometry and stability of lane predictions. And then the last couple, improved longitudinal control response smoothness when following a lead vehicle. This was done by better modeling the effect of brake lights on the lead vehicle's future trajectory. So hopefully reacting to brake lights and slowing down a little bit earlier, and also maybe in the opposite case, maybe providing a little bit more acceleration a little bit earlier if the brake lights go from off to on. Finally then, improved decision-making at crosswalks, always welcome, but particularly interesting in this case because Tesla says that this was done by using neural networks for ego planning. So one of the first instances where we see neural networks involved in the planning. So a lot to be excited about here. It's been a while since we have had a beta update. This would be a huge one. Usually at this stage, when it's out to a lot of employees, it can be only a few days before it starts making its way out to customers, provided things are going smoothly. In this case, we do have the complicating factor of the FSD Beta recall. Maybe that delays things if Tesla wants to address those with the next update, and if those aren't in this update yet. So we'll see on that. And then just a couple other quick things on this. Looks like AutoPark is working in this version. Obviously, no release notes on actually smart summon though, so wouldn't count on that. And then there was a presumed employee that shared their thoughts on Reddit, saying that in general, thinks version 11 was better than 10, especially in stop and go traffic, but still struggled with being too hesitant in a nearby roundabout. All right, moving on from version 11, but on a somewhat related note here, there's been some discussion on Twitter about some images that have come up that are purported to be hardware for. A couple of photos of a Model X that claim to have different cameras. Personally, not buying this at all. If you're going to share photos of new cameras, you can at least take a close-up photo. And the Model X shown here still has ultrasonic sensors, which wouldn't make much sense. So that got a lot of attention. Wanted to share my thoughts on that. In a similar vein, this weekend there was also some photos that popped up of a camouflaged vehicle with Model Y wheels. It's got a Tesla front end, Tesla headlights, but clearly not a Model 3 or a Model Y. So some question if this is the next vehicle for Tesla. But there are also door handles and what looks like a gas tank lid, so probably not. I mean, maybe the door handles and gas tank lid are a part of the camouflage, but if you're going to go to that extent, why not also camouflage the wheels and headlights? Doesn't make much sense. So I think we're just seeing some sort of weird mashup here between a Tesla and a Mazda. As we wait for a little bit more information on Tesla's next-gen platform at Investor Day next week, we may have a little bit of a tidbit from Barron Fund's quarterly update. They're usually well-informed, may mean something, may not, but in this update, they say that Tesla has also established unparalleled competitive advantages which are about to increase further with its 2024 planned introduction of a lower-priced version of its exceptional vehicles designed from the ground up. So maybe they've got some additional insight on that timeline, maybe not. All right, shifting topics a little bit, we've got some new insight on the Tesla Semi. This is coming from Tesla Joy, who happened to be at a Tesla Owners Club meetup when a Tesla Semi arrived. The driver was just stopping for lunch, but did take the time to answer a couple of questions. He said the furthest he's driven with the Semi so far is 485 miles on one charge. Sounds like that took the battery from 96% to 12%. So if you extrapolate that and went 0 to 100, that'd be 577 miles of total range. Cool to see. I think from the video that Tesla had posted at full capacity, that had extrapolated to 530 miles in that ballpark. So maybe a little bit more here. Obviously it can be different driving conditions or maybe the driver not at full capacity, but good to have that third-party confirmation. He also said that charging from 0 to 70% took about 30 minutes, but then to get up to 90%, maybe another 40-45 minutes or so. So we are definitely seeing some taper in terms of the charge curve. I was having a conversation in the comments a while back about that. And I think this again makes it clear that the charging is definitely happening at faster than the 750 kilowatts that for some reason Pepsi keeps talking about. The only way that could kind of make sense is if there's a couple of chargers hooked up at the same time, but we haven't seen any evidence of that being the case. So that continues to be confusing. The driver was asked about the middle seating position. He said, quote, "It's wonderful, there's plenty of vision out of it," end quote, adding that the seat is more comfortable, the ride is smoother, and it can easily pass other semis, handle going up hills, and overall runs very well. Awesome to hear some of that feedback, and it definitely seemed genuine. He also confirmed that Pepsi does have 15 trucks at Modesto, and that there is no autopilot or FSD on these semis at this point in time. Next up, some supply chain news. We've got an announcement from Magnus Energy Technologies that Magnus and Tesla have signed an offtake agreement for anode material produced in North America. An offtake agreement, generally a contract for future goods from a production facility that has not been completed yet, so it gives the producer confidence that they can go ahead with that project. In this case, the agreement is for a minimum of 17,500 tons per year of anode material starting from February 2025 up to a maximum of 35,000 tons per year. This is conditional on Magnus securing a final location for the project by June 30th this year, producing material from the pilot plant by at least March 31st next year, production by February 2025, and of course qualification by Tesla. So from my understanding, this would be natural graphite for the anode. It might also include copper foil, not quite clear on that. But Jordan over at The Limiting Factor estimates that this would be enough for 18 gigawatt hours per year at that base level, which would then obviously be 36 gigawatt hours per year at the maximum. So decently large range there, depending on pack size. That could be anywhere from 250,000 cars, maybe up to 800,000 plus cars. So not a bad chunk. And again, this would be in North America, so valuable for the battery materials parts of the Inflation Reduction Act EV credit. Next, we've got another week of data for vehicles insured in China. Tesla this week for February 13th through the 19th, coming in at 5,913. So that's down about 1,000 from the week prior. Definitely not what I would hope to see, but again, very inconclusive at this point in time with Tesla exporting a lot of vehicles. And there was a report from Wuhua that Tesla was going to begin focusing production on domestic deliveries. So hopefully we see a big jump the next week or two because wait time estimates in China remain pretty short, which wouldn't be a very good sign in China if we don't see more deliveries soon following the dramatic price cuts. Now remember, we have seen the price increase on all trims of the Model Y, so that's a much more positive sign. And then in terms of the Model 3, it's a little bit less relevant right now with the pending shutdown for hopefully some improvements. People are aware of those things, it kind of seems like, especially so in China, so that could be creating a pocket for the Model 3 right now, making that portion of the numbers a little bit less relevant at this point in time. Always like to take a quick glance at BYD. They did increase up to 37,000 for that week versus 31,000 the week prior. So trending an opposite direction from Tesla, but still quite a bit below the numbers from the fourth quarter. All right, last couple of things for today then. We've got another Toyota EV update. Nikkei Asia reporting that they have learned that Toyota plans to begin producing electric vehicles in Kentucky as early as 2025. They say that Toyota will be updating an existing factory to make EVs alongside gas engine vehicles, and that by the end of 2025, they intend to be producing 10,000 vehicles per month, so 120,000 a year. Apparently, they intend to scale that up to 200,000 per year from 2026 forward, but remember that is just US production at that point in time. They're targeting worldwide production of 1 million EVs per year. Finally then, a quick update on SpaceX. Today, SpaceX's senior advisor for national security space solutions said that both the booster and launch pad are in good shape following the static fire test a couple of weeks ago, and also told the audience that he was speaking to that they should be expecting some must-see TV sometime in March, likely alluding to a Starship orbital test flight. That timeline, of course, would still be pending approval from the Federal Aviation Administration. So we're getting close on that, which is extremely exciting to see. But that'll wrap it up for today. So as always, thank you for listening. Make sure you're subscribed and signed up for notifications. Also find me on Twitter at Tesla Podcast. And we'll see you tomorrow for the Wednesday, February 22nd episode of Tesla Daily. Thank you.